Hey, thanks for coming. I'm really delighted to be here. I made it through the grueling qualifying events. I'm one of the first 200 contestants who submitted my registration form and my entrance fee of $25, so I'm in. Nobody at the Helium Comedy Club actually knows if I'm funny or not, but I'm performing for you tonight. So I got married, we had 4 kids in 5 years. And if you have teenagers, especially kids like 15, 16, 17, the best advice I can give you is to get a lawyer on retainer who will take your calls at midnight on a Saturday night, which is when you'll need to reach your lawyer. Now, I can tell what you're thinking. You're thinking, I'm a good parent, I have good kids. Scott, this advice doesn't apply to me. Well, when I tell a lot of my friends this advice, they blow me off. Then a few weeks later, they call me very sheepishly and they say, Scott, my teenager has been arrested. Could you give me some of the names and numbers of those lawyers you were talking about? So the hardest one for me was when my son and 4 of his friends were arrested. I get called down to police headquarters. It's midnight on a Saturday night. My son's there with his friends. And I say to the police officer, what are the charges? He says, well, there are 5 charges, but one of the charges is your son has been using a false identification. So I said, well, may I see it? Now, my son's in 11th grade, and we all know that in Pennsylvania, the drinking age is 21. So the fake ID that my son made only made him 20 years old. I mean, I'm outraged. Not only is he arrested, he's an idiot. He doesn't even have the ability to make a fake ID that makes him 21 years old. I've been wasting a lot of money on private school tuition these past 11 years, I'll tell you. So the policeman can tell I'm as upset about this as I am about my son being arrested, and the police officer is loving it. So I turn to the police officer, I say, officer, this can't be a legal offense. This only makes him 20 years old. I mean, what are you afraid of? That he's going to go to a beer store and order a case of beer to pick up a year from now? Is that what you're worried about? This can't be an offense. The officer assures me this is a legal offense. So I got called down to police headquarters quite often when my kids were teenagers. I started sleeping in my clothes Friday and Saturday nights, so it'd be easier for me to get down to police headquarters when the calls came in. I was on a first-name basis with a lot of the police officers. And I was glad always to have a lawyer with me. So I become known in the neighborhood as the guy to call for help when your teenager gets arrested. I mean, this is so inconsistent with my self-image. People I don't know are calling me. I get a call from one guy. He says, Scott, you don't know me, but my son goes to school with your son. I understand you're the person to call. You know what lawyers to call when your teenager gets arrested. Great, this is how I'm known. So I say, okay, what's the situation? He says, DUI, Radnor Township. I say, well, I'm actually a little stronger on disorderly conduct in Lower Merion Township, but I can help you. Here are the names and numbers of lawyers you need to call. So, I'm divorced. I'm also wearing Invisalign, the things that straighten your teeth. So I'm 64 years old, single, and have orthodontist appointments. I mean, how did all this happen? So after my divorce, I had a relationship with a terrific woman for more than 3 years. We both lived in the suburbs, we were near each other, it was great. She decides to move into Center City. And she's going to be about an hour and 15 minutes away. And I say to her, I say, even though you're moving into Center City, I hope that we'll still be on converging paths. She looks at me, she says, Scott, oh, converging paths. I love it when you talk sexy to me. A girl has to wait a long time till she hears something that romantic from a guy. Ooh, converging paths. Hey, you've been a great crowd. I've had a lot of fun. Enjoy the rest of the show. Thanks.